Well, a wonderful good afternoon. Tampa Bay footballers, this is Rob Smith, Commissioner of the Tampa Bay Fantasy Football League. Let's look at the results from Week 1. Game number 1 had Ditches Pack versus Elliott's New York City Hitmen. Well, the Steelers quarterback thing's probably going to hurt Ditch in the long run this week, and Liddell Betts is one of his starting running backs, probably a third or fourth tier running back in most fantasy football leagues. Awful lot of zeros down the way for Ditches Pack this year. The only highlight, really, Daryl Smith and Antoine Bethea on defense. Looking at Elliott's team, however, Ray Lewis, only 2 points out of him, but a good kicking performance, 8, where Ditches Ryan Longwell only with, 8 less, so that would be 0. Steve Smith, wide receiver for the Panthers, ended up getting Elliott 3, and 3 from Reggie Wayne. Ravens quarterback looking good on paper, but not so good this year. But overall, Elliott in the win. There was no line on this game being Week 1, 38-26. Now let's talk about the rivalry between the Smith brothers, not the father and son. Well, I'll tell you what, I don't know how you can lose a game where your quarterback scores a record 17 points, but Rob managed to do that this week. With only 1 from Ricky Williams and 2 from Maurice Drew and a wide receiver core that ended up with a big giant goose egg, Steelers defense coming in with 5. Everything was looking good for the Steelers. Hillbillies, very methodically, very painstakingly, 2 from the quarterback. Again, 17 from one quarterback, 2 from the other. This is easily a win for the Steelers. However, good kicking performance out of Gostkowski for the other Smith. And if you look on defense, this is where Rob lost the game and Keith won it. 1, 3, 0, 3, 4, 5, 7, 4, and 3. However, 1 point separated the Hillbillies from the Steelers. However, the guy from North Georgia comes out ahead, 45-44. In the third game in week number 1, you of course have the world champion, the current world champion, the Dirty Dirty, versus the team that last year was known as the Wookiees, which is kind of a hair-lipped way of saying rookies. But this year, Bennett's no rookie. But the Dirty Dirty did get 11 from Tom Brady. Ho-hum, we're kind of used to that. But look at these numbers from the running backs. 7 from C.J. Chris Johnson and 7 from Matt Forte. You can pretty much turn out the lights. The party's over for Bennett's Black Lions. With 11, 7, and 7, those are the good lucky numbers when you're in Vegas. And it was unlucky for the guys this year with a first week total point record of 63 from the Dirty Dirty. 63-42. Bennett's Black Lions fall to 0-1. Nicky's Dagos versus the Redneck Express. This probably will end up being a pretty big rivalry this year. 11 and 10 from the quarterbacks respectively. But again, the Necks got Arian Foster. A guy who a lot of us had on our radar, but we certainly didn't have him coming close enough to do damage. 12 points, a record 231 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Other decent performances on offense from Driver and Macklin, where if you look over Nicky's Dagos, Ronnie Brown, Reggie Bush, looking like a good combo 3 between them. And the only real highlights for Nicky's Dagos was a little bit on defense with Jordan Babineau with 6 and Patrick Willis, the absolute sack and tackle machine, Patrick Willis with 5. But a 10-point victory going out right now to the Redneck Express. So Gary's taking charge of his new division. As, let's see, Tattoo would say on Fantasy Island, the plague versus Jim's Badgers. He's got Shab as the quarterback, does the plague. He ended up getting 3. 2 from Ahmad Bradshaw, and rookie sensation running back, Javid Best with 4. And rookie wide receiver sensation, Mike Williams with 2. Decent performance from his kicker with 6. And Matthias Kiwanuka and Paul Pazliski on defense, both with 6. However, when you look at Jim's Badgers, you see 5 from Aaron Rodgers. Not too bad. McGahee, Preston, Des Bryant, Owen Daniels, pretty much non-existent week 1. Kicker with 11. Clay Matthews, yes, Clay Matthews with 10. 10. And we got highlights coming up for week 2. It doesn't get any better for people playing the Badgers. But now we look down here at the bottom. It's a 45-41 victory for Jim's Badgers. A close game, the plague was definitely in this one. I think if they'd gotten some better performance from backup running back Anthony Dixon, who may not see a lot of carries in Frisco sitting behind Gore. May have to look at some running back help to do that. Next up, we're looking at Terry's Brownies versus Jesse's Smithville Hounds. Jesse Smithville Hounds definitely this year looking to be a team to beat, but actually Terry took that literally, and he beat him in week 1. Final score 37-28 behind the big numbers of the Eagles quarterback, and also Terry's backup is the Washington Redskins quarterback. So overall, I'd say he's probably got the 2 best starter and backup quarterbacks in the league. 7 points from Hakeem Nicks. That's Hakeem Nicks. I didn't mispronounce that. Yeah, 7 from that wideout. Decent numbers on defense. Jonathan Vilma with 4. DeMarcus Ware, just being DeMarcus, coming in with 5. Jesse had an awful lot of zeros, but only 1 from his quarterback, 1 from a wide receiver, 1 from another wide receiver, 0 from another wide receiver, and his rookie sensation, first overall round draft pick, C.J. Spiller, 0. May need to consider getting some help at running back, yes, this early in the year. Saints defense came through with Jesse with 5. And looking down the road here, a lot of 3s, a lot of 2s, and more 0s. So in the win, 37-28, Terry's Brownies sit down his nephew in a way. And the final game of week number 1 is Brad's Dolphins versus Ira's Forest Dragons. Very, very tight game here. Cowboys quarterback Romo in the loss with 7. 5 from Ocho Cinco, 159 yards and a touchdown. Mike Sims Walker shut out in week 1, but I don't think that's going to continue. 5 from the Redskins defense. 5 from Mike Peterson. A lot of 4s down the way. Fo. If you're the Jolly Green Giant, giving you his lottery numbers for the week. Bob Sanders, nothing, and Sanders could be out for a while. And of course, Cortland Finnegan, heck of a ball player, only 2. Ira had good digits from Eli Manning, but his running backs and wide receiver core, not so good. Decent kicking performance. Trent Cole, Mario Williams, and Sean Phillips made it close for the Forest Dragons, but not close enough. So there you go. You have it for week number 1. Looking at the standings for week number 1, a little too early to talk about that. However, when we go into the actual lines for next week, let's talk about the lines for next week. The lines for week 2. Brad versus Elliott. Elliott is getting 8. Ditch versus DePlague. DePlague is giving Ditch 4.5. The Dirty versus the Brownies. Terry is getting 6.5. Jim's Badgers versus the Whitebreads. JC is giving Jim 7.5. And Keith's Hillbillies versus Ira's Forest Dragons. Ira is being given 4. Nicky's Dagos versus Bennett's Black Lions. That's even. Rob's Steelers versus Doozer's Bruisers. Rob is giving Doozer 1.5. And the Redneck Express versus the Smithville Hounds. That's a pick'em. We'll see you in week 2. Congratulations, guys. We'll talk to you soon.